So we're going to put America first. We're going to make America great again. Again, Iowa, we love you.
The caucuses, where voters gather in local meetings run by their state parties to express their preference for a presidential nominee, have been a mainstay in modern presidential campaigns for both Democrats and Republicans since the 1970s. Historically, the Iowa caucuses have played a pivotal role in shaping the landscape of presidential elections. Over the past 50 years, these caucuses have not only propelled candidates to their party's nomination, but have also served as a launching pad for some to reach the White House. Simultaneously, they have proven detrimental to those who fell short of expectations, creating an atmosphere where a strong showing could make or break a candidate's trajectory. Changes are afoot this year, with Democrats adopting a new primary calendar that no longer prioritizes Iowa and introducing rule changes allowing voters to state their presidential preference via a mail-in process. This departure from tradition reflects the evolving nature of the caucuses in response to the changing dynamics of the political landscape. Republicans, holding their Iowa caucuses on January 15th, still emphasize the significance of these caucuses as the nation's first presidential contest, but the political activity is notably quieter. Democrats and former President Donald Trump have opted not to campaign extensively, perhaps influenced by President Joe Biden and Trump's substantial leads in the polls. Although dynamics could change in 2028, the current season suggests a potential decline in the heyday of the caucuses. It's peculiar that Iowa has played a key role in how Americans select a president, especially now when it no longer accurately represents the nation's demographics, is not a swing state, and lacks significant financial backing. With only 6 electoral votes, Iowa's time-honored status as the first contest on the presidential nominating calendar, coupled with media and candidate attention, has turned it into a major presidential testing ground almost by default. While state party officials have fought hard to maintain Iowa's place on the calendar, Rachel Payne Caulfield, director of the Iowa Caucus Project, notes that there was no grand plan that put Iowa ahead of other states. It's more of a historical quirk, ironically stemming from reforms designed to make electoral politics more inclusive, the same objective that some Democrats now cite in seeking to retire the tradition. The historical roots of the Iowa caucuses date back to the 1960s amid the Civil Rights Movement and the Vietnam War. Democrats, deeply divided at the time, sought to democratize the process and involve more young people and people of color. A group of reformists determined that party bosses could no longer pick convention delegatees, and states should create systems of open primary elections or locale party caucuses to determine their delegates. While many states established primaries, Iowa, already running caucuses, retained them with modifications for inclusivity, becoming the first contest for Democrats. In 1972, the Iowa caucuses gained attention when George McGovern, who finished third, went on to win the Democratic nomination. Republicans took notice, moving their caucuses to the same day as Democrats in the 1976 election cycle. That year, Jimmy Carter became the first candidate to show that early and frequent presence in Iowa could lead to breakout success, setting the blueprint for subsequent underdog candidates. Despite its historical significance, the Iowa caucuses have shown a weak correlation with predicting nominees and winners of the presidential race. From George W. Bush to Mitt Romney, candidates have experienced varied outcomes in Iowa. The frenzy around Iowa, however, does impact the outcome of primaries, as early voters have up to 20 times the influence of late voters in the selection of candidates. With Democrats shifting their focus away from Iowa following issues in the 2020 caucus, its impact may diminish. Some Iowa Democrats hope to restore the caucus's former glory in 2028, while progressive Democrats argue that Iowa no longer represents the party's diverse base, and the caucus process excludes many. The fate of the 2028 caucuses and the Democratic calendar remains uncertain. As per Peveril Squire, The Iowa caucuses now function more as a media and advertising event than the road to nomination that Jimmy Carter once took.